Sometimes you just know when something feels off. Even if you can't put your finger on it, you slip into fairyland mode where everything looks okay on the outside, but deep down, you stay busy, working, scrolling, cleaning, eating, or even escaping into spiritual practices. Anything to keep yourself from slowing down and really feeling. The constant busyness becomes the norm, but it doesn't bring you peace. And you're listening to the Robert Jean Experience. Today we're talking about emotional escapism and the one way out. Robert has worked with countless people that are stuck in these patterns. He understands what it is, how it often starts, and what it really takes to finally face your feelings. As a neuroplastician and behavioral engineer, he also knows how the mind works and how to rewire it for lasting change. I'm Crystal Dirksen, your co-host, here to explore this conversation with you. And before we dive in, subscribe to the channel so that you can stay connected and catch all the insights that Robert shares about the mind and creating real change. And here's Robert.
Well, this is a very big topic. Super big, super important, major number one operating system our brains use. Of course, I call it escapaholic, avoidism, and one more word that I will share later.
Oh, yes. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. So starting this work many years ago, of course, most of you probably heard my podcast. I was trying to solve my problems, figure out why I have so many problems. And of course, over the years, for 26 years, working on people, changing memories, updating lives, and also seeing patterns. Of course, in the beginning days, I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into. I didn't know exactly what the real cause of our problems were. I was discovering. And of course, in our 2000, probably 2001, maybe 2002, I rented a hall at a local church on Tuesdays and given trainings, and they want weight loss. And of course, weight loss is, wasn't one of my favorite topics. I thought it'd be boring. I wrestled in high school, junior high. I know how to lose weight. You just eat one burger instead of two. It's that simple. All right. But when I come to find out, started working on this, I entered into a new world of understandings of how you and I think, how we process the world, how we handle things. And when I started working with weight loss, I discovered every possible human problem is a part of that operating system. So people use food for many reasons. And it's that reason that we're talking about. And the reason is I know there's something inside me. I don't know what it is, but it makes me do what I don't want to do, or I do things to avoid things within, of course. So the real deal is what's happening inside the mind? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? And again, we call it the big mystery. A lot of people say, I got these problems. I have this weird behaviors. I don't know where it comes from, And so that part that we're talking about, I understand it. I know how to clean it up. I know how to sort it out.
Yes. Okay. Can you define emotional escapism for us?
Well, let me, emotional escapism, just kind of explain the system. It's a natural, innate, built-in system everyone has. Emotional escapism, basically, I feel unpleasant. I don't feel comfortable, and I want to get away. Whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You can use drugs, sex, alcohol, shopping, cleaning, fantasy, books, prayer. You can use prayer as emotional escapism. You can use tapping as emotional escapism. It's trying to avoid what's inside. Right. Now, again, emotional escapism has another word. It's called addiction. Addiction really is emotional escapism. Most people think it's the drug. Most people think it's the food, but it isn't. Those are patsies. Those are way outs. And so each and every one of us, our number one coping skill that's innate, built inside of us for survival is I feel bad. Mm-hmm. What must I do to get away from this. So we're going to escape. We're going to run away. Now, here's the problem, the true problem of it all. What are you running from? And where is it? What is it you're running from?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It's called memories, interpretations and translations of our world and how we feel.
That's what we're running away from.
Yeah, our inner world. What scares us, what bothers us, what we've internalized, and how we process things.
Right. And I've heard you say that memories create perception. So
Mm-hmm.
that becomes our life then as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes a pattern. I mean, it's again, you're not what you are based on. You're not what you are by what you do. You are what you are by what you hold inside. Like, for example, I ate breakfast this morning. It was a nice breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 eggs, some salsa. It was really good. But I am not that breakfast. But there's a part of that breakfast that will leave my body. And there's another part that my body will utilize from that breakfast. It's the nutrition, it's the energy. And eventually that will fade off too. But I'm not an egg.
Right.
But also, you are not your memories.
Wow.
You're not your memories. You use your memories to create identity. You use your memories for coping skills and mechanisms. You use your memories to create things and to manifest things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. To the brain, it is very neutral. Something happened to you in a bad way. To the brain, it's not bad. It's just information. And it's not what happened to you, but rather what your brain took, internalized, and processed in your life. So it's the processing and how it's internalized, and everything is malleable and adjustable.
Wow.
So,
So I'm still thinking about what you said about the egg. So we're not the egg, we're not the eggs that we eat or the food that we eat, and we're not the memories that we hold. Yet we will experience in our life what our perception is, what our internal world looks like, and how it's been encoded in us.
right.
But then I always think about evolving, and so then if we're always changing these memories, then what are we evolving into? Like, what are we trying to be or become in
Right.
the
Well, I mean, I've talked about this before. Who are you really? Who are you really? Now, who you really are, and just like everything that's ever born on the planet, they have this system within themselves to keep them alive and to survive, right? So who you are, I call it the creative self. This is that spark within. This is the processing of information. This is the key part of you. Now, if you're born in an environment where you have loving, kind people, and people are always nice to you, certain layers will be laid on top of this, this source. And based on what is laid on top of it, you'll create and manifest
right.
an attitude, a belief, a value system. I'm a mother. The reason why you're a mother is because you got pregnant, had a child. Without any pregnancy, you would not be a mother. So again, who are you? You're a divine, I say divine spark. That's a little woo-woo, but you're
Right.
you're a survivor. You have this survival system within you to stay alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so from that point on, depending on what is laid, what experiences are built on top of it, you'll manifest an ideal and a value based on what happened and how your brain processed it. But you're not those memories because, I have people come to me who are depressed, lonely, suicidal, alone, feel like they're all alone and no one loves them. Now, that is a success based on what? Experiences and processes. So what we'll go in and adjust those experiences and processes and shift how they hold it, and then discover that their personality changes. Their value changes. They're no longer a doormat. They're no longer letting people walk on them, but they're standing up front, honoring themselves and manifesting something different. So you're not the egg and you're not your memories, but you use memories to manifest and create something. If you don't like what you're manifesting, creating, you got to change the cause, which are the filters laid on top of your creative self.
Hmm.
All right.
Explained well. I like that. So let's go back to the escapism.
Mhm.
Is there a healthy form of escapism and an unhealthy form? What's your view on that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by healthy. All of them work.
Right, I know,
They
but
all work.
I listened
But
to a psychologist that was talking about the healthy escapism and the unhealthy.
well, I mean, there are definitely. Here's the deal: whatever you use to escape, what are you defusing? What are you releasing? What are you transforming? Or are you just coping?
Hmm.
I say there's only one escape. There's only one way out.
Yes.
And what is that? What
Uh,
is that?
We'll find out soon because it's one of the questions I have for you. I want to know what is that one way out?
The one way out is changing memories, which shifts perception.
Yeah.
If you have a fear of public speaking and always afraid of public speaking, this is a success based on your brain's programming and experiences. Now, some people will have a fear of public speaking one way, even though we all think it's the same, but they're created many different ways. I was in a seminar in Ireland, and the lady asked a question. We gave him a microphone. I got the microphone back. It was just sweaty, so sweaty. And I go, do you have a fear of public speaking? It says, well, kinda. I said, well, okay. She later on said that she was a radio personality, but she had a fear of public speaking. Now, most people think speaking publicly is the problem, and it's not. Everyone on this call has spoke publicly. You talk to your friends at McDonald's. You talk to your friends at a mall. Those are public places.
That's true.
But what they're really saying is something else. Now, again, the number one training in the world that every one of us have experienced is school. School has in the curriculum unwritten to create the fear of public speaking. They got to keep the kids quiet, so they're going to use fear and intimidation, humiliation. They will use somebody as a scapegoat, and everybody else says, "Oh, I'm not going to talk." And if you are a talker, guess what you got? In a homework assignment, go back and go home, write 1,000 times, "I will not speak in class." Right? So
Mhm.
again, this is an emotional indoctrination and training. Now, not everyone has it that way. So this woman who I hand the mic and is sweaty, I said, "Would you like to work on that?" She said, "Sure, sure, come on up." So I said, "Oh, here it is." I don't remember the full story. I just remember the gist of it. Basically, it wasn't speaking publicly, but rather being examined. It was rather being not examined, but fault finding on them. And it went back to a childhood memory, which, by the way, when she were talking, she didn't have any reference how this was created. It's basically what we'd call a buried memory. All right. So we go back to this memory, and she's talking about, well, I don't know why my mind's giving me this memory, but when I was like 10 or 12 years old, or 7 or 8 years old, we went to visit my grandmother, and I was playing in the barn with some boys, and I came back to grandma's house, and they presumed something naughty happened to me. So they stripped me down and examined one part of my body. All right. So was it fear of public speaking then? No, it was fear being examined, ridiculed, and attacked in some way. So
Right.
that was a drive. Now, she didn't know that it was there. So a lot of times of our behaviors that we think it's public speaking, but it isn't.
Right. Yeah, you're really good at identifying those emotional patterns because you did that the same for me yesterday. You said you don't have a fear of public speaking. You have a fear of being center of the stage or something like that because the
Mm-hmm.
focus of attention. And we went we went
We,
we
we
went
went to
into a
a
dark realm.
oh, it was a very, very rich emotionally, very scary one. We're not going to talk about that, but
Yeah, no.
but I will tell you this: it all makes sense now, doesn't it?
It does. It does. So I lived with that thing that I talked about in the beginning in the introduction, that thing I could not put my finger on. I don't understand why I have shame. I don't understand why I have embarrassment. I don't understand why I can't go on Zoom and show my video on a group call. Like, why
Mhm.
can't I do that? It's so simple. And really, these people are not going to attack me. Logically, I know they're not going to call me out and attack me. But my unconscious had other information stored that
Yeah.
Robert found. You identified it. And I
Mhm.
couldn't put my finger on
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah. And then here's another thing too, without content. We're talking about here it is. If you take a child, and I see this a lot when I work with adults, sometimes people who have had early childhood abuse, now it could be sexual abuse, it could be physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse, especially as they're really young, the young child doesn't understand what's happening. And there's a natural thing that we do for survival, and that is called escape. So then we're going to call that either one, you're going to fight back, that's trying to escape. Two, you're going to run, take off running. And three, you're going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And these children, these adults that I work with, they disappeared. Now, what happens is they go inside of their head. They actually leave their body. They don't know what's happening to their body. And they could create what you call fantasy land.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this a lot with a lot of people. They have fantasy lands. That means these are the internal worlds we escape because they can't deal what's happening right now. And this is and again, is this an addiction? Yeah. What is addiction? I need to get out of here. I need to be safe. I need to get out.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
then that created a whole universe around it. You know, I was in Australia, a young lady, same basic story. She says, I always feel like I see ghosts everywhere. I feel like spirits are following me. And so of course, I know this woman, zero, and I started asking questions. And again, she starts giving me these feelings and sensations she has, right? And then her mind opens up and gives a story. She says, I can't see it, but I know what happened. I can sense, but I don't know. And so here it is. She's on a houseboat with her family. Her parents are out, and she was put away in bed. And apparently, one of the crew workers or some guy came in there, completely dark. She saw nothing, but he was doing things to her that should never happen. She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't see him, but she could sense him there. And that's what she carried. Somebody's out to get me.
Right. And so those were the ghosts.
Those were the ghosts or the ideas. Now, we listen. We pick up imprints or identity and value systems, and that become an imprint. By the way, this is impactful for a child. And the weird thing is, up until that moment, she didn't understand why until we weaseled in and we found it, and then it revealed itself. Because I'm very good at finding the core. I say go ground zero. Ground zero was when it all began. Now people chase therapies right and left. They try everything. They do everything. This is a very typical model.
Mm-hmm.
Something bad happened. I don't remember, and I don't want to remember. If I get too close, I'm gonna go crazy. Right? I mean, like when we're doing your session, how many times you said, "I want to run out of here. I want to get out of here. I gotta get away."
Time to go now, Robert.
Hey, yeah, but you stayed, and guess what happened? It went,
Yeah. It dissipated.
yeah, and what happened now?
Mm-hmm.
Any charge?
No, no, no,
Yeah, good.
no. And I'll see how it integrated as well in my life and how it's,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, so I guess the question that I have is when you can't put your finger on it, and
Mhm.
even with the modalities you're talking about, people going from one modality to another,
Mhm.
what is happening inside the brain where we go shift into emotional escapism in those moments? Because, like, let's say and many certified people in hypnotherapy, EFT, like they've done them all, and
Yeah.
they keep going from one modality to another. So, like, what's happening in the brain?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things happening,
Okay.
a lot of different things. There's a part of us because we recorded that event. That event is strong and powerful. When I say powerful, I have a lot of emotions. To a child, it's humongous. It's huge. To an adult, we can look at it, it's not that big, but it doesn't matter what we think. So inside of their brain, they get scared. And then they're so afraid to go there. Now, I call this the Holy of Holies, these memories that you never want to get close to. But the Holies of Holies drive all your behaviors and actions
Oh, wow.
into the sense of craziness.
Mm.
So again, a lot of therapies, they don't know how to get to that one point, that one memory, or that one reference, because it's almost like, because again, say for example, some trauma happened and you were threatened, if you ever tell anybody, I'll kill you, I'll kill your mother and your dog too.
Mm.
Now
Right.
that's usually, I hear that a lot with sexual abuse, right?
Yeah.
Or other abuses. And so what happens is their brain says, whoop, I remember nothing, I know nothing. You know, I've heard this so many. And as even when we're working on you, he goes, I feel like I'm lying. I said, I know,
Mhm.
because you're not supposed to know. The
Right.
details were so rich, so
Yeah.
detailed, and
Yeah.
so real.
Yeah.
But again, like it's like the child goes to tell the mother what Uncle Joe did, and mother says, you're lying.
Hmm.
You
Yes.
just had a bad dream.
How many times has that happened to kids?
Yeah,
Mm.
a lot. But so again, it's not, now remember, even though we're talking about sexual stuff, it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be. It could be a physical beatings. It could be the continual attack from a mother blaming you. That could be that one piece. I'm guilty and I'm bad my whole life, and still carry this motif, this model of thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I've seen it a lot. And a lot of times, like I said, they go into fantasy land, they go into fairyland. Religions are really great with this because you want to be saved, you want to give it to Jesus, you want it gone, and so you put your holiness, whatever you do, and go and you play the church role, and you want it to be real.
Yes, for
You,
sure.
you want it, and you beg and plead and you cry, you give it to Jesus, it's still
Yes.
there over and over and over again. And the reason is again, first of all, I mean, biblical studies is my major in college. My system is not Christian. It's not anti-Christian. It is very Christ teachings. And basically he talks about if your eyes cause you to stumble, pluck it out. He's not talking about eyeballs. If you have memories within you, get it out, pluck it out, get rid of it, change it, adjust it. He talks about memory processes. But she comes in, she says she gave it to Jesus. And I said, well, let's just check, see who has it. Guess what? The memory was alive. She was still crying. It was still real until about 10 minutes later.
Hmm.
She can't bring it back. She know what happened. It doesn't feel real. It feels like something's gone. Now, that's what I would call true forgiveness. Ultimate forgiveness is not saying, I forgive my dad, my mom, and whoever else did this to me. It's getting it out of you, making peace with
Right.
it, moving beyond
Yes.
that. So
Yeah.
religions, this is a really big one. This religions, because they want it, but the system that is being used isn't working so well.
Hmm.
Now, again, religions is
Yes.
one thing, and factual shifts and changes is another. I see this with a lot of people. A lot of people who have been physically, emotionally traumatized as a child. They develop coping skills and they end up being doctors, nurses, preachers, but they always have that little negative thing inside. Of course, this is an age old thing. An age old thing. I do what I don't want to do. I don't know why I do what I do. It's simple. Memories, experiences that you don't remember or you do remember. There's this one woman. I did a Heal Your Sexual Self seminar in Vegas, many years ago. And of course, this woman, anytime anybody you get said, do you have any abuse? No, nothing. I have no memory. But anytime someone get close to a certain area, she would get anxious, angry, upset, and then end the session. So the story is that she wouldn't get close to the story. Now she can tell the story as if she went to the grocery store, bought a carton of milk, came home, had a bowl of cereal, had no meaning. But the story is she went to a party, someone spiked her drink,
Ooh.
and she woke up putting her panties on and going home. She remembers nothing. Zero. But her friends would tell her how bad she was anytime she'd ever drink. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, totally two different people. Because the unconscious has the resources, we want to be sweet and kind and nice and not knowing that that segment was there. But when it's gone, it's gone. So I have hundreds of stories, hundreds of stories. I see it all the time, like even another woman who wanted to translate my seminars in Polish, and she will be a translator for me. And I said, well, let me talk to you. Because some people, they want to be a translator, but they can't do English very well. So I just check in, and she started telling about her life. And she's talking about how horrible her life is. She's been suicidal and all this other stuff and don't know why and all this other stuff. I said, well, we can do a little session. So we did a session. Of course, I'm very talented, humbly saying so. I know what I'm doing, right?
Yes.
And then I did a process. I had her do this one process, and all she could do is see a painting on the wall with chickens and a farm. And as we started backing up, we discovered what was really happening while she's looking at this picture. It was not good. And then and all of a sudden she goes, here, I thought I came from a very good Christian family, and come to find out everybody except my mother did this to me.
Oh my goodness.
And they said, so we opened Pandora's box and we started cleaning up. There's a lot of stuff in there. That one person, I've never experienced and worked with somebody with so much big stuff. A lot of big stuff, a whole lifetime.
Wow.
But before, it was like the invisible veil. Now, even if you don't remember, does it drive you? You know what the answer is? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It makes you sick.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you do weird things and not knowing why you do it. It makes you scared of everything around you.
Right.
You have ailments here, there. It's always moving around.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Those are the things that you can't quite put your finger on.
Mm-hmm.
There's something
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So when you notice those, now that you're listening to Robert and you're going to start noticing those things, oh, I haven't been able to put my finger on why I clean my house the way I clean it. It's not normal. I do it with anxiety or whatever it is. Maybe it's with food.
Mm-hmm.
What are they supposed to do now? So they now have identified
Well,
that.
well, identification, step one.
Yes.
Step two, find some way to change it. I do that. I teach you. I help you. It is knowing, it's to know yourself, know what's going on in yourself. Now, let me just say this. Just because I talk about the big stuff, those are the big things. It could be merely your mother who's always picked on everything you did wrong. And that becomes, those are what we call, those are traumas. They're mini traumas. Traumas is just an education to survive. So you've been humiliated. Your mom wakes you up in the middle of the night, grabs you by the hair and pulls you into the kitchen. Look, under that table, there's a spot. That's a trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It also is training you to be thorough and complete. So there could be little things that you always feel like it's almost like you got a gun to your head and you cannot not do it.
Right. Yeah. So those are some of the subtle signs as well. So you've kind of called out the bigger signs, the smaller or the more subtle signs.
Mm-hmm.
What are other signals that people would be able to realize when they are emotionally escaping? Because I mean, we're in a social media world
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Well, again, it's easy.
Hmm.
You're diverting your attention everywhere you go. Very common ones is always looking at your phone. I mean, that could be a very common one. Not procrastination. Procrastinating is putting off things I'm afraid to do or I feel stressed about doing. Living in fantasy land, not wanting to be in reality, always out in your head. Fairyland, create alternative realities. Like I said, some of these little kids at 4 years old, they have an interesting world. Paranoia, schizophrenia, we all have done parts of that. And some of this is living in a world that isn't true, and you're feeling as if it is true, even though it's not.
Yes. Yeah.
So again, this is a paranoid schizophrenia is not a disorder. It's a coping mechanism. Some people had to develop because of the crazy stuff that they've experienced. And also, it's what they feed, imagine, and replay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of men and women that I've worked with have systems, operating systems that drives them crazy. They don't want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. It's like, and some of the side effects you see is obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a distraction. Tetrachellomania is another part of it. Fault finding finding everything wrong. It's like you're always scaring yourself. You're scaring yourself. You're thinking of something wrong. You're always afraid of something. Spending time with, sitting in the seat with evil counsel, watching news, watching scary movies. Hello. Hating people.
Right.
Hating policies, hating people who eat meat, hating people who vote a certain way, hating whatever. These are all monsters that eat away at the self. Now, I don't believe in monsters. These are patterns.
Yes.
And they're well learned.
Mm-hmm. If you're enjoying this conversation, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe so you can keep learning with us and exploring what emotional patterns are, and listen to Robert's wisdom of how to break free from them.
Yeah, I definitely could change your life. I know a lot of people are definitely scared, and it's logically. How many times I've had somebody so scared. I said, listen, I was in drug rehab, and this guy, he's from Afghanistan. He saw a lot of people killed. He killed people. He's done a lot, and it was so scary just to sit in front of me. And I said, listen, Joshua, just pick memory. Don't tell me anything. I'll show you that this will work for you. Mm-hmm. About 5 minutes later, it doesn't bother me. He talked about it. Says, it's like I'm not even there anymore. I said, well, listen, we did that one. Give me all the others. And we cleaned up a lot. And he went home. And of course, he's waking up 3 to 6 times a night, every night. And that night and the following nights, he slept all night long. No getting up.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because see, the thing is, the brain makes you feel like you're still in the war. Mm-hmm. You're still under mom's control or dad's control. You're still looking over your shoulder. Who's going to get you? Mm-hmm. But when you shift the memories, you're safe. You're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good example for those that feel so overwhelmed. Let's say they've been raped. They have a food addiction. Maybe they have a little bit of a drug mm-hmm. addiction, secret, I don't know, mm-hmm. sexual addiction.
Or crazy families,
Crazy. Yeah, crazy family. And so like that, it feels like it's overwhelming. So they don't even know where to start. But what you're explaining with this guy is like, he killed people. He was in this war. He saw some gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
And yet you had one session with him, you said?
Well, the first session, big changes.
Big changes.
And he slept all night.
See, that's huge.
Yeah. Something you can never take enough drugs to do.
Exactly. And that's one session. So even if you have a whole lot of stuff, just know that one session can do that for you.
Yeah. Now, again, everybody's different.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
Some people have a lot more. Some people have a lot less. It just depends on how they process. Mm-hmm. There was a guy that came to my house. His name is David, and I bought a desk from him. And, asked me what I do. I said, I'm a behavioral engineer. How people get rid of bad memories, traumas, PTSD. So I didn't say PTSD. He said, even complex PTSD? I said, yeah, of course. I said, if you want, pick a memory and I'll help you change it. He said, I was in the military. And so I worked on him for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and I changed a major memory that kept him awake for 43 years. He could not sleep no more than 2 hours at a time. No matter how much whiskey I drink, no matter what drugs I take, every 2 hours I still get up. It takes me a while to try to go back. Then I got 2 more hours. So after that one session, that's one session, and I showed him how to work on himself. That one session, he called me the next day, said, I slept 4 hours last night straight. And I just got up, went right back to bed and slept. He said, and then he called me a week later, said, by Friday, I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. And I hadn't slept since before I went into the military. One of the key points he said, I'm not there anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not there anymore. Because remember, that is an imprint. That is a survival system. He learned to survive, and he kept that. He didn't do it intentionally. It was indoctrinated in his mind to stay alive. Now, again, remember, he's had some really great stories, some really tear-jerking stories that I heard.
Mm,
but it's not true anymore.
hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, some of the ways that we feel where we escape, it might feel productive for some people. Let's say, you're doing good things, you're busy, you're full
Mhm.
of like all this busyness. So, what
Mhm.
is the common ways that people emotionally escape without even realizing it?
Well, I mean, we mentioned some of them, and some of them even just trying to just any busy behavior, anything that you stay busy with. You can be prayer can be used as a form of escapism because
Right.
again, or meditation. Joe Dispenza, they'll teach you to meditate for 3 hours at a time, and he says don't go to the negative memories. Stay away from that. Just meditate. Well, guess what? You become really good at meditating, but the bad memories are still there, driving your bus.
Right.
So
Mm,
what I say, let's get rid of the bad memories, and you have positive meditation all day long. All right.
right.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need it. You don't need to spend because they're trying to do it, and like there's a lot of other modalities. They say, well, the mind is the devil's den. Stay out of it. Just stay focused on something else. And of course, we got the Gupta process. We're trying to help people with physical illnesses. They can't fix the bad stuff, so they say stay focused, stay positive. Well,
Yeah.
even if you're staying positive, the negative's still sitting in there.
Hmm.
It
Right.
hasn't been updated and flattened out. I know how to flatten out and change a memory where you can't make it bother you again. You know it happened. It's not real. It doesn't feel real. It feels like it was somebody else, not you.
Hmm.
So that's a big difference. So we got Gupta, we got a DNRS, and a lot of other modalities. They will do. You can go to ayahuasca. And I work with people who went to ayahuasca. One person 12 times, and they still got the memories, still tormenting them. But they had a spiritual experience. I said, well, how good is that? Well, it's no difference in doing that and drinking whiskey and getting really drunk and feeling good while you're drunk. The leftovers, it's not changing the real problem. So there's no escape but one. That one escape is not an escape. It's an update of how you internally represent things. You change the driving force, there's nothing to run from. There's nothing to hide from. There's nothing to escape from because you have peace, internal peace, real peace, mental peace and control.
Right.
Real, and that's truly is a real spiritual thing, really, be honest with you. It is spiritual, but it's really making peace with your head. All the spiritual teachers, know thyself, make peace within themselves, forgive, forgive, forgive. What is forgiveness? In my world, forgiveness is changing the memories that you held against yourself and other people. Change them inside. You don't
Yes.
need to go to them to say, I'm sorry, or to want forgiveness from them, whatever. It's peaceful within you. You don't have to chase rabbits and rainbows and fairy tales. You'll never
Yes.
catch one. You have a, you'll have a temporary feel good, but when you go back to reality, what's in you drives you. So change it. That's what.
Right. Yeah, well, and even some of the spiritual practices, it's hard work because I remember doing Joe Dispenza. I did it for at least a year, and you couldn't move your body. So when you're in the meditation, you can't move your body, and it's like your unconscious will give you an itch, and it's like you want to, but resist the itch so that you stay still, and then you can leave your body. And so that's some of the stuff that
Yeah.
I've tried, and it didn't bring me more peace. I had experiences.
Yeah, it was a good experience, though, wasn't it? I mean, I have a lot of people with good experiences. This one
Yes.
lady, she left one of Joe Dispenza's week-long retreats, and she's flying back to Romania. And when she got into, I don't know, Europe somewhere, they started checking her luggage, and she got so pissed off. You just ruined a whole week of Joe Dispenza
Oh boy.
because she had no emotional coping skills.
Yes.
Meditating and vegetating doesn't solve your emotional problem. It is good, and you could develop some skill. But I've had people. I had this woman who, she was in an, let's see, was it ashram, a Tibetan temple
Hmm.
for a long time. And when we did a session on her, the stuff that was coming out of her was richer than chocolate. I mean, it was big. So meditating for 3 years doesn't change memories. It just creates a great skill of escapism called meditation.
Right.
Wanting something called nothing is wanting something.
Right. It's so, yes. Oh my goodness. Yes.
What?
That's transcendental meditation where you are supposed to be in nothingness, but you're still in nothingness.
You want something called nothing.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's so interesting how you link meditation with vegetation.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
Veg out, veg out.
So that spiritual practice would be ignoring, denying, or not facing reality.
It's no different than someone creates a fairyland. It does give you control over some parts of yourself. It does create the great skill of zoning out. But when you start dealing with the real world, your programming kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Your emotional
Boy.
conflicts with people kicks in. It doesn't change that. And the real cause of problem are memories.
Yes,
How
that's
you experience, how you internalize the world. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do those things and flatten memories out if you know precisely how to do that. I used a phone app. Where's my phone? I used a phone app and collapsed a rape memory in 13 minutes.
right. I like that one.
Yeah.
One.
Because it's not, I mean, the phone app was just a sound, but it was collapsing an internal representation about an event that was not a good one. So I teach a philosophy of the mind, how the mind works, how it processes information, how it holds it. My system is not a technique, it's a lifestyle. It's being in the moment. It's being mindful. I call it directed mindfulness, directing what your mind is full of, keeping your mental and emotional temple clean, having the power to change how you feel, how do you respond to people, and clean up your history.
Mm-hmm.
Know? Change all the you got this divine spark, this manifester. You change all the bad stuff, you put good stuff, you'll be manifesting more good.
Mm.
Not with work,
Right.
consciously, naturally, without effort. You're being what you want to be, and you've been doing, acting from what you don't want to do because of your filters on top of that part of you.
Mm-hmm. That's so good.
You know.
So online, people are asking questions regarding escapism. This is the first question. How can I tell if being busy is helping me or if it's just covering up something deeper?
Well, I think the real test would be, can you be alone by yourself?
Mm.
Can you sit there, be alone by yourself, alone with your thoughts? Now, again, we call it escapaholism. That's why I call it, or escapaholic or avoidaholic, same thing. And you can call it addiction, same thing, or escapism. It's all the same process. So here it is. Kathy, she was abused as a child, 4 years old, by her stepfather, and it was bad. So she used things to escape. So she was doing heroin and cocaine. I don't know if it was heroin, but I know it was cocaine. And she was really big time addict, heavy drinker. So she started slowly weaning off the bad drugs, weaning off from smoking and the cocaine to marijuana to cigarettes to AA meetings. And then she had a few others. It's kind of like slowly the program was still there, but the substance became less harmful, but is harmful, right? And she's down to the last one. Basically, she was Dr. Pepperaholic. I mean, she would drink. She said, "I drink 2 or 3 liters a day. Can't sleep at night." And she had a lot of anger too, by the way. So the anger was still there, which was driving all the addictions, but smart enough to wean her off of the big ones. And so once we go and we start addressing the true cause of her problems, which is a sexual abuse by her stepdad, who was a deacon in a local church, and we're working on her and the memories of that. And then, of course, she's very pissed off at her husband. I mean, the garage door would open, she'd get pissed. And so we started working on about her husband, and come to find out, this guy is a great guy. He's a really nice guy to her. But the worst thing about him, he looks just like her stepdaddy. That was her emotional trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So we cleaned all that up. They're still married today. So
Wow.
that was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. And that's That's
Yeah.
evidence of that picker that you talked about. Your picker isn't broken. It's
No, no,
your
no.
unconscious.
When we talk about pickers, we always pick for what we know.
Mhm.
And then someone says, "Ah, my picker's broke. I keep picking the same bad type of person." I said, yeah, it's not broken. You're just fine tuning your picking ability. You keep picking the same stuff. Have you noticed it got worse? She goes, yeah. I said, your learning skills is compounding from where you came from. You go back to the driving force, which is the stepdaddy for her. Make peace with that. Make peace. And when I say make peace, change the memories, change the references where it's not real and true anymore, and then clean up everything. Then you could pick something the opposite of what you've been picking. That means, the woman said, damned if I do, damned if I don't. I'm screwed either way. I said, but there's a happy medium when you make peace with both sides of the bad parts. So, but yeah, so emotional escapism, people lose themselves in books. My mother was a bookaholic, smoker, and drank her coffee or RC cola.
Mm,
That was her way out of her world. Even while she's there reading and whatever you do to escape, it doesn't change reality.
mhm.
If you're drinking whiskey, you're drinking vodka, you're taking your drugs, whatever drugs you are, it doesn't take away reality. You still have to go back inside. What's inside you? So there's only one way out. Is just making peace with your head. Change the memories, adjust how you feel and see things.
Yes, that's right.
Now, guys, I know as you listen to these stories, these are real stories, and I know you have your own story. And if you're like me and like many other people, there's something not right inside, something you want to make peace with. It's that part that you keep trying to get rid of and change. There is a way out, and that is learning how to change the real cause, which is your memories. I have a course you can change yourself, master training. I do sessions. Both of these will help get you closer. But this is an investment in your mind, in your life. As you invest in you and you start shifting your inner world, how you represent things inside yourself, your relationships with your children, your partners, your family members will shift. Your relationship with your job will shift. And believe it or not, even your weight could be lost without even trying by addressing the emotional drivers behind it. You don't need to escape. You need to make peace. Make peace with inside you. Change what's unpleasant. Your life, you deserve something better. And there's nothing wrong with the path you're on. There really isn't. It's just not a fun ride. And it's going to, you know it. You look at the past, it's getting worse from the beginning, and it'll continue unless you find a way to get clear within your own mind. So learn how to change yourself. Your life, the greater part of your life was waiting for you. So many people have started this system. Honestly, they were ready to kill themselves. I already wrote my suicide note when I left. She said she had
Wow.
so much pain in her body. She had an implant in her hip, and she went to get sessions. She went to my system and started working on memories. She never thought she could ever walk because she couldn't walk. It was her painful. She rode into the session with a wheelchair, and 7 days later, she was dancing on the dance floor.
Wow.
And then I never thought she'd ever have a relationship. Now she's married. She has a relationship. She's singing. She's doing what she wants. But it wasn't given to her. She worked for it. She applied what worked. She went down through the valley of the shadow of death. And she had no fear because she had a way to clear what was bothering her.
Mm.
It is a skill. It's easy as math. But you got to strap yourself in and go for it. This is a journey. This is your journey, and it's your life.
Yeah.
Choose your path wisely.
Mhm. Yes, and Robert's set one-on-one sessions, they're unmatched. If you want to see the testimonials, visit his YouTube channel. You will see numerous testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's so much that you have on YouTube, and the testimonials are so powerful. I don't know if when I visit other people's YouTube channels, I don't quite see the testimonials like I do on yours, especially with physical issues. You get the results. These sessions are unmatched, and I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah. You know it. We've done
Yes.
we've done stuff that no one would ever believe you could do.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And you've had tests done too where your clients will come in with a blood test, this is what
Right.
it says, and
Mhm.
then totally healed, you're released. You no longer have
Yeah.
Hashimoto's or lupus.
Yeah. Blood tested there, blood tested gone. And all they
Yes.
did is change your mind, change your memories, make
Yes.
peace with their head and invested in themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have some more questions that people are asking online. When I slow down, why do old feelings or anxiety surface so strongly?
Well, that's very simple because when you're busy, you're not thinking. When you're doing things, you're not thinking. That's why a lot of people who've all their life worked and they finally decide to retire, their whole life was working. When they slow down, the stuff comes out.
Mm,
Those memories, because again, you never dealt with them. You stuffed them. You recorded them and they're in the back of your head. So to avoid them, you stay busy. Well,
mhm.
when you stop staying busy, they start to come back. They start to reveal themselves because you never dealt with them. And they say, you need to address your stuff. That's why. And that's why a lot of people, when the woman who said, I've been healthy all my life, I'm 71 years old, I work all the time, I just retired, now my body's falling apart, I'm emotionally upset, this is bothering me, this is mine. I said, because you use your work to avoid yourself. I said, you don't know yourself. You've been running from yourself, but you find connections. It's fun to live in fairyland. It's fun to live in workland. It's fun to do all these other things to avoid yourself. So that's why it just bulls up. It bulls out to the top. Again, like I say, you can go to the bottom of the ocean, to the top of the sky, the moon. Your problems are with you there. When you stop to slow down, it's time to clean up what's inside. And if you don't know how, it's going to drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm. And here's another question. Can staying busy long term affect my health, relationships, or a sense of purpose?
Staying busy.
Staying busy long term.
Well, I will say this, and I've worked with a lot of people. They're always working and never at home, as some of your dads, always working, never at home. Staying busy, you can build a nice nest egg financially. And when you die from a heart attack or you have your health issues that destroy you, your children will spend that money on therapy for all the times that you weren't there for them.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow. That's straight to the point.
I've heard it a billion times.
Wow. Wow. But it's true. You're
Yeah,
right. It is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Wow. And so,
I was going to say, I remember this woman. It's kind of insane, really, in some ways. This woman, she bought this therapy. I don't know what it's called, but it's where they put her in this room in a swimming pool full of salt water, and they leave her in the dark for hours on end. And again, that's supposed to be some kind of healing, something, and so she, after she left, she felt really good about what she had done, and she went to her therapist and told her what she did. And the therapist goes, "Do you know what kind of salt they're using?" She goes, "No." She said, "But I tell you what I did while I was floating in that water. I was thinking about all the people I needed to forgive.
mm,
It's the forgiveness that set her free. It's not the type of salt."
right. Yeah.
So again, most people think it's external.
hmm
It's internal.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about denial, because it's so easy to go into denial. Even, I'm busy because I have things to do. And meanwhile, they live with a low level anxiety, but I'm busy. I do
Yeah.
have things to do.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of parts to this. Sometimes you're emotionally conditioned to always be busy. It's not safe to stop. You always got to do something, or else something bad's going to happen to you. That's a programming by itself. And or like I said, it's a coping skill to avoid yourself.
Yeah.
So my thinking is, if you can be alone by yourself in a room by yourself, and you can be happy and peaceful, you can be happy and peaceful anywhere.
hmm
So again, it's really you doing it to you, inside you, about you.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about this, your students, the ones that are listening to the podcast, because what they do while they listen to the podcast is they start writing on their piece list. Oh, and so while you're talking, I think some of them are going in their peace list and just writing, "Oh, I have been in denial," or
Hmm.
it's really helpful even for the listeners that are really trying to understand your language right now, because there's some people that are just stepping into your world and they're starting to understand what you're saying. Because the truth is, like, I've been fed psychology, hypnotherapy and the world like from a different lens. And so
Right.
stepping into your world and seeing things, it really, I have to say, it's so freeing because there's no judgment, and it's
Uh,
really spiritual too, because it's like,
yeah,
I don't want to call it a spiritual thing, but it really is
it
spiritual.
really is. Yeah, in true sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really the things that Jesus taught. Like, there's truth in
Hmm.
the things that you're teaching.
Hmm.
So there's
Yeah.
just so much life in everything that you're saying and
Right.
the lens that you're coming from.
Now, another thing too, I see a big problem as well. If you've been indoctrinated to believe that you have a disease, you indoctrinated to believe that it's a genetic problem. I know this one person, he's very entertaining, and he's read too much of Sigmund Freud's work, and he's buying into this gospel that he's telling he's got a problem, a disease. He's got this, and I said, that's pure horseshit.
Yeah, of course.
But if you believe it, it's true. Don't
Right.
waste my time. I don't mind being paying me for the work, but if you're not willing to let go of a belief system that lets you stay stuck forever, you have a choice. And I said, hey, listen, you have a choice. It's your choice. And I make it very clear. It's very simple. I said, what are you doing inside your head?
Hmm.
What are you doing inside your head? What are you imagining? And what are you watching to support this? If you keep reading books about weird stuff, you're going to believe weird stuff,
Yes. Hmm.
and that's just how it works. And there's no judgment against it. I just said, you say you want to get rid of it, but you're not willing to stop doing what you're doing to support it.
Hmm.
You got to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Denounce that belief system that you learned. It's like the gospel of the psychologist world. Now, and I told her, I said, listen, go ask some guys how to fix the problem. You know what they're going to tell you? You can't.
Right. Here's
That's
the.
a prognosis you'll live forever. You
Hmm.
have a disorder. You have a disorder. That's it. You got a disorder. Live with it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in disorders.
Right. Yes. And that is so freeing. There's so much about what you're from your lens that is so freeing.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where it's going to offend people that have a
Yeah.
belief system, psychologists.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're not even saying this to offend anyone, nor
Mm-mm.
do you have triggers around it. There's no judgment about
Mm-mm.
it.
No, it's the Baptist and the Catholic Church. That's all it is. It's the atheists versus the Christians. It's just choose your religion wisely. You know, see which one's going to get you how far.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If
Yes.
what I do, this is how I do. I look at a process and I look at it, go, if I'm really good at this process that they're teaching, do I get free?
Mm.
And the answer is no, then I'm looking for something else.
Hmm.
You look at the experts in that process. Are their life better or they're just as screwed up when they started?
Hmm.
I mean, again, bragging about having a dark mark on your soul or bragging about that have you have some disease, some disorder, some malfunction, some virus floating around your blood system. If that's the system you want, go for it. Go for it. But what are the results you're going to get? Well, you're going to suffer like everyone else of the group does. I say break the rules. Do something outside of the system that doesn't work. Find something that does. And that's what I've done. I've created this system based on what didn't work and what was working and how to make it universally applicable to every person on the planet. It will work with every person. Every person.
Yes.
But the determining factors, do you want it? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to let go of the past?
Hmm.
And if you're not, enjoy the ride you're currently on. It's not going to be fun, but the end will end someday.
Right. Well, I guess that's the real test is it working?
Yeah.
So notice it. I give modalities a good chance too. So when I'm in it, I'm like all in. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna see it. Um, so if you're ready to finally get clear on what's been holding you back, you can book a strategy call with me. It's absolutely free. It's a gift from Skills to Change Institute from Robert. So if you want something better and you're ready to stop these crazy emotional patterns once and for all, Robert's one-on-one sessions are unmatched. He really is the man who can help you truly face your emotions, break free from emotional escapism, and create real change in your life. And also, you'll find the links in the show notes below.
All right. All right. Thank you guys. I remember
Yes.
it's all about you. Learn how to make peace with your head, change your world, learn to love yourself, like yourself from within yourself, because what you do up here, you do to other people. So start with you, be nice, and share that niceness everywhere you go.
Yes. So that's it for this episode today. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe, click the notification bell, and give us a like to keep these conversations coming. Also, check the links below to explore more and connect with us. We'd love to keep supporting you on your journey.
Peace.
Peace.
I think that was good.
Yes, it was good. Man,
Yeah.
I don't know how you know how to answer these questions. The way you answer, it's so rich.
Which answers? Which questions?
Oh, like when you, especially when you went into the questions that I found that people were asking online. Let's see, the one where you talked about when I slow down, why do the old feelings and anxiety surface so strongly?
Oh yeah, that's an easy one.
Well, but it's the way you answer these questions. It's like pure gold. So
Hmm.
it's good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we help lots of people with that one.
All right.